She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't even fight back. But the day she disappeared, everyone thought she was broken. They didn't know she was planning something they could never escape. Because silence is the most dangerous revenge. Maya was 29, living in New York City, a city full of lights, dreams, and lonely hearts. On the surface, her life looked perfect. A stable career, a quiet apartment, and a love story everyone envied. And Ryan, the man she trusted more than her own instincts, he wasn't just perfect, he felt too perfect, like something carefully designed, not real. Every morning, he would gently smile at her, as if nothing in the world could ever go wrong, and whisper softly, "You are my safe place, Maya." And every time he said it, her heart believed him a little more, while her mind slowly stopped questioning him. But love has a dangerous way of making silence feel normal, even when it shouldn't be. Late at night, when the world was asleep, she noticed things she tried to ignore. A phone that suddenly turned away, messages that disappeared too quickly, and conversations that stopped the moment she walked in. Small things, but strange enough to stay in her mind. Yet Maya chose to trust him, because trusting him felt easier than losing him. So she stayed silent, and without realizing it, she wasn't just holding on to him anymore, she was slowly, quietly, losing herself. That night, everything looked normal from the outside, just like any other night in New York City. But inside Maya, something felt wrong. Not loud, not obvious, just a strange silence that didn't feel safe anymore. Too quiet, too still, like the house was holding its breath. She came home earlier than usual, a soft smile on her face, carrying small excitement in her heart, thinking she would surprise Ryan, maybe laugh with him, maybe hug him, maybe feel that perfect life again. But the moment she stepped inside, the atmosphere changed. The air felt heavier, colder, unfamiliar, as if the house was no longer welcoming her. Her smile faded slowly, without her even noticing. Then, a sound broke the silence. A laugh. A woman's laugh. Not hers, not imagined. Real. Maya froze. Her fingers tightened around her bag. Her heartbeat suddenly became louder than everything else, like it was warning her, "Don't go further." But her feet didn't stop. Slowly, step by step, she walked deeper into the house, each step heavier than the last, until she reached the hallway. The bedroom door was ahead, slightly open, just a small crack, but enough to change everything. She stopped. Time felt slower now, like even the air was afraid to move. Inside her mind, a voice whispered softly, "If you open this, you will never be the same again." Her hand trembled. For a second, she almost turned back. Almost. But then, she pushed the door open. And the world didn't just stop, it shattered. There they were, Ryan and Lena, her best friend. No music, no noise, no explanation. Only silence so heavy it hurt. Maya couldn't speak. Her throat refused words. Her eyes refused tears. Everything inside her just froze. Ryan turned slowly, like he already knew this moment would come. No guilt, no panic, only cold acceptance. And then he said it, calmly, like breaking a heart was normal. "You were never enough." That sentence didn't just enter her ears, it destroyed something inside her that could never be repaired. And in that moment, Maya didn't scream, she didn't cry. She just stood there, watching her entire life collapse in complete silence. The next morning, New York City looked the same, but Maya's world was not. Everything outside was moving normally. Cars, people, lights, noise. But inside her, something had completely stopped. She didn't sleep that night. She just sat in silence, staring at nothing, as if her mind was trying to accept something it refused to believe. She kept replaying it, that door, that moment, those faces, and that sentence. You were never enough. It didn't feel real. It felt like a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. But then reality came back, slowly, painfully. Ryan didn't come to explain. He didn't come to apologize. He didn't even try to hide it anymore. He was different now, cold, distant, like she was a stranger in his life. That evening, he looked at her and said something even worse than betrayal. It's over. You should leave. No emotion, no regret. Just an ending, spoken like she was nothing, as if years of love, memories, promises never existed. Maya didn't respond, not because she agreed, but because her voice had left her body. And that was the moment everything else started falling apart. Not just her heart, but her entire life. Days passed, but the destruction didn't stop. At first, it was whispers. Friends slowly stopped calling. Messages were left unseen. Then it became rumors, her name being twisted, her character being questioned, her emotions being used against her. And slowly, quietly, the world she built started disappearing. Her job gone, her reputation damaged, her confidence shattered. Every place she once felt safe started feeling like it no longer belonged to her. Even walking on the streets felt like she was invisible, or worse, unwanted. But the worst part wasn't losing everything. It was realizing how quickly people believe the worst version of you when you are already broken. At night, she would sit alone, in a dark room, no phone ringing, no voice calling her name, just silence. And in that silence, something inside her began to change. The pain didn't make her cry anymore. It started making her think. Not about love, but about truth. And revenge slowly, quietly, started forming in the silence she was left in. After everything collapsed, there was nothing left to lose. And that was the moment Maya changed. At first, she disappeared, not physically, but emotionally. No social media, no replies, no presence. It was as if the world had lost her completely. Friends stopped asking, people stopped noticing. Life moved on, without her. But inside that silence, something dangerous was growing. Pain doesn't always destroy people. Sometimes it rebuilds them. Slowly, Maya stopped crying at night, not because she healed, but because she was tired of breaking. She started observing instead of reacting. She replayed everything again and again, not as a victim anymore, but as someone trying to understand every detail. Every lie, every word, every silence became information, and information became power. Months passed. Then one day, something unexpected happened. Maya returned, but not the same Maya who disappeared. This version walked differently, spoke less, looked calmer, but her silence wasn't peace, it was control. She didn't rush into revenge. She didn't scream for justice. She waited, patiently, carefully, because she had learned something painful. People don't fear your pain, they fear your intelligence. And so she began rebuilding her life, quietly, secretly, like nothing had happened. A new job under a different network, a new circle far from old connections, a new identity carefully shaped. No one knew what she was doing. Not Ryan, not Leva, not even the people who once destroyed her. But Maya knew everything about them now. Their routines, their weaknesses, their secrets. And the most important truth she discovered was this: they were not strong, they were careless, and careless people always make mistakes. Then one evening, Maya saw something that made her stop. Ryan had moved on. He was now engaged to someone new. A perfect life built on a lie. And that's when Maya finally whispered to herself, for the first time in months, "Now it begins."
Maya didn't rush. That was the difference now. The old Maya used to feel everything: love, pain, fear. But this new Maya felt nothing on the surface, only calculation. She watched Ryan from a distance first, not like a broken woman, but like someone studying a system before breaking it. His new life looked perfect: engaged, successful, confident. But perfection is always built on fragile cracks, and Maya had found them all. She knew his patterns now: where he went every morning, who he trusted at work, what he hid from his fiancé. Even Lena wasn't just a memory anymore. She was a piece in the puzzle. And slowly, Maya started placing herself back into their world without being seen. A new contact, a new identity, a new presence in the same social circle, but invisible. Ryan had no idea the past he destroyed was now sitting quietly inside his present. Then the first move began. Not loud, not obvious, just enough to create doubt. Ryan started noticing small things: a message he didn't send but appeared in logs, a conversation that felt slightly wrong, a detail about his past that someone else seemed to know. At first, he ignored it, but doubt, once planted, never stays small. Meanwhile, Lena began feeling it too. Someone was watching, not directly, but always close. And Maya? She never appeared. She only influenced. Every step she took was invisible, but every effect was real. Ryan's engagement started feeling pressure. Arguments increased, trust started breaking, slowly, quietly. And that's exactly what Maya wanted. Not destruction, confusion. Because confused people make mistakes faster than angry people. One night, Ryan received something that changed everything. An old video from that night, the night everything broke Maya. But this version was different. It wasn't just a memory anymore. It was evidence. And underneath it was a single line: "Truth always finds its way back." Ryan froze. For the first time, he felt something he never felt before: fear. And somewhere in the city, Maya finally whispered to herself, "Now you will live what I survived." The wedding day arrived like a dream. Bright lights, perfect venue, elegant guests, soft music in the background. Ryan stood there smiling, finally believing his life was complete. Next to him, Lena, dressed in white, looking happy, unaware of the storm waiting beneath perfection. Everything felt perfect, too perfect, and that's exactly why it was about to break. In the crowd, no one noticed her at first. Maya, standing quietly in the back, no anger on her face, no tears, just silence. The same silence she had learned to use like a weapon. Ryan's eyes accidentally met hers for a split second, but he looked away immediately. Something inside him felt wrong, but it was too late. The music suddenly stopped, the lights flickered, and then a screen behind the stage turned on. At first, people thought it was a slideshow, but then the room changed. Faces on the screen, messages, calls, proof, truth. Ryan's lies, his manipulation, his betrayal, his real character. The night everything happened replayed in front of everyone. Gasps filled the room. Whispers turned into shock. Guests stood up. Someone dropped a glass. Lena froze. "Ryan, "What is this?" she whispered. But Ryan couldn't answer, because the truth was no longer hidden. It was public. And then the final message appeared on the screen. "You didn't lose her, you destroyed her." Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Lena stepped back, shaking. No, this can't be true. Ryan's face went pale. For the first time in his life, he had no control. Everything he built was falling in real time. And then he saw her, Maya, still standing in the crowd, watching, not smiling, not crying, just present. Ryan walked toward her slowly, his voice breaking. Why are you doing this?" Maya looked at him for a long moment. No anger, no hatred, just clarity. And then she said softly, "Because I survived what you did, and I wanted you to understand it without words." Ryan froze, because in that moment, he didn't see revenge. He saw reflection. Everything he had done returned to him exactly the same way. Maya turned to leave. No drama, no final speech, just silence again. But before she stepped out, she stopped and said one last line. "You didn't break my life. You revealed who I was meant to become." And she walked away, into the light, away from the past, away from pain, away from him. Ryan lost everything that day. Not just love, but respect, trust, and himself. Lena left without looking back, and the perfect life he built became a memory of shame. But Maya, she didn't win by destroying someone. She won by rebuilding herself, not as a victim, but as someone who rose from silence.
If this video touched your heart and you believe silence can become strength, like the video, subscribe for more emotional revenge stories, and comment what would you do if this happened to you, because some stories does not just end, they stay with you forever.